Hello, friends. Firstly, my apologies for disappearing for the last few days. Actually, I'm here on an assignment. And if you remember, the last episode was done because an old friend wanted to discuss certain aspects about branding. After that episode, and during my stint here, I'm in Surat right now on an assignment and talking to both my friend as well as the company here for whom I'm consulting or hoping to consult. A topic came up which is pretty much like branding, but not branding, and definitely less taxing on the pockets. As we all know, branding is an expensive activity, not only in terms of finances, but the amount of effort that one has to put in to creating a brand. And this friend of mine who's looking to grow his business, we were brainstorming on what are the different options. And one of the things that came up, which somehow came to my mind, though I'm not an expert at that, nor have I done that for anybody till today, was about creating a private label. I'm sure all of you are wondering what is a private label. So basically, a private label is like a small scale, small exposure brand. Okay, it refers to certain products that are manufactured by a manufacturer and sold to a retailer who is going to take charge of that product and that private label that he's about to create and sell it under his own name. So the manufacturer basically has no real stake in the brand except that he is a manufacturer for the same. He develops product under the guidance or in hand with the retailer. But it is the retailer who takes the call on every aspect of the brand except the manufacturing. So if I have to define it, I would say a private label refers to a small brand, brand in inverted commas, where products are manufactured by some manufacturer who is a third party manufacturer and sold under a retailer's own brand name. And the retailers use this brand, private label, to offer a unique experience in every which way, whether it is service, whether it is packaging, whether it is the product itself, to the customers who are already or whom the retailer wants to lure to his brand or his business. So the basic point here is that the private label is retailer owned and not manufacturer owned. It is always, more often than not, manufactured externally. And these third-party manufacturers manufacture that product which comes under the private label, no matter how it is conceived, whether by the manufacturer or by the retailer or jointly, only for that private label, only for that retailer. And another advantage of a private brand compared to a national brand, which typically does everything themselves. So the price point is definitely more affordable than the ones offered by the national brand. And therefore, customers who are price sensitive will prefer this because it offers most of the trappings of a national brand, but as a private label, which may not be known nationally also, which may be known only regionally, and which offers them the confidence that one has in a national brand. And some examples in India of private labels, if I have to speak of some, are actually not there that I know of in the gem and jewelry space, but in general, say a brand called HRX, which is manufactured by somebody, which is marketed on Myntra, and which carries the name of Hrithik Roshan. Or Amazon Basic, which is a private label. Amazon Basic product is not manufactured by Amazon. So these are kinds of names of examples of private labels that one talks of. So what is the core concept of a private label? The concept starts from the fact that the retailer recognizes, that's retailer initiated more often than not, he recognizes that there is an opportunity to create their own branded product, which can be produced by any external manufacturer who is able to give them the quality that is required as his target for the private label, and is sold exclusively in the retailer's outlet or on his platforms. If the retailer has multiple outlets, then multiple outlets, or on his website, or whichever, but it is sold by the retailer under the name of the private label, and it is deemed to be owned by the retailer. So, why private labels versus national brands? National brands are typically manufactured and marketed and distributed by that one company which owns the brand. But here it is different agencies, if I may call them that, who get together. The retailer who conceptualizes and knows that there is an opportunity there. And then he finds a collaborator in the manufacturer and other aspects of it, who may or may not design the product themselves, but depends on the manufacturer or an external product development agency to help him do that, but which at the end of the day offers the consumer a unique product with an established retailer being the face of it, and a different name which is branded and which carries all the trimmings and all the guarantees that a national brand offers, but at a much lower price. So this is the primary strategy of the retailer when they create a private label. And private labels help a lot because they enhance store loyalty. Okay, even if that person has just one store, but the loyalty increases because now they know that there is something there which can in future turn out into a national brand also. Okay, so it helps in enhancing the store loyalty and providing customers with exclusive product with all the guarantees, good packaging, good quality, and better pricing than the national brands. And therefore, it helps customer retention in a big way. In fact, it attracts new customers. And of course, at the end of the day, a private label commands better margins than the generic retail, though not as high margins. Profits, we are not talking of here, but not as high as the national brands. So, how does one go about creating a private label? The first thing you need to do is to identify market gaps, which is the retailer's job to really do that. You need to identify the market gaps and which are the consumer needs that you are not fulfilling today, but which need to be fulfilled, and which by fulfilling will help you grow your business. So basically, they conduct a survey of various kinds, a consumer survey on the product, a consumer survey on the price, a consumer survey on the kind of designs that they would like, various aspects, but they do a lot of market research. And at the same time, they do a competitor analysis. That competitor analysis is very, very important because you don't want to spend time, money, and energy on creating a private label for something like that is already in the market and is being marketed by somebody else already. Then the second step is to find the right partners for various aspects. The partner for manufacturing is the primary target. Besides that, you need to either have your own team or use the manufacturer's team or use an external agency for product development. You need to find somebody who's going to help you market the product. You are going to find somebody who's going to help you do the product trimmings in the sense that, not product brand trimmings, in the sense that you need to find somebody who will design a good logo for the private label. Of course, starting with the name, logo for it, packaging for it, various aspects that go into branding, but which you do not require the scale and the costs involved in creating a national brand. Because when you're starting to create a private label, you are restricting your geographical presence. And therefore, you are restricting the cultures that you are going to address, buying as well as social. And then you need to make sure that your product specifications are correct so that you get the right product. Okay, the quality and whatever else that goes with it, the design, the packaging, blah, blah, blah. And you need to have production control. The retailer has to, because it is his responsibility and his name at stake at the end of the day, he has to make sure that the retailer delivers the quality that he really is aiming for. As I said, you need to do the branding, packaging, etc. Logo, name. I think we already spoke. Distribution and marketing. By and large, it is always distributed from the retailer's platform. And if the retailer does not have an e-commerce platform, I believe that he definitely should create one in which the private label is separately marked, those products are separately displayed and are separately priced, and you have a marketing strategy for that. Okay. And then you need to engage with the customers. Now, in your case, in the case of this, it is easier to engage with the customer. It is easier to engage with the customer because it is more regional. You are not looking at a very, very wide area of operation. So you can have in-store events, you can have local events, and even your targeting on social media, etc., is more regional and therefore more cost efficiently, offering you a much higher return. So we already talked about it, but just to recap quickly, what are the advantages of a private label? There is cost efficiency, and therefore, although better priced than the national brands, it offers better margins than what the retailer was doing at a generic sale. So better margins for the retailer. It definitely helps in creating brand loyalty, both for the private label as well as for the retailer himself. And naturally, this product has got better quality control. So that is a big advantage that the retailer has. It can help uplift the quality of the entire business, whether it is under the private label or not. It offers flexibility and customization because you are able to play with product which traditionally you would not have done, for the simple reason that you are playing it safe and this is what a retail store does. But a private label can do much more, which you should have done in any case. But anyway, that's a different point altogether. And the private label has a singular customer focus, just like any brand has. Okay? It gives you a competitive advantage because, as I said, the customers start identifying with the brand, with the private label. And not only does it build loyalty for the label, it also builds loyalty for the store itself. So there are some things that you need to be aware of when creating a private label. And I think the first thing is that there is a substantial initial investment that is involved. It's not necessarily very high, but it is definitely very high in terms of effort and labor. Okay, you need to do the research to determine what kind of product and what are the services you will offer under the private label. You need to develop all the trimmings of a brand, smaller scale, but you still need to go through it. Like that. So there's a lot of effort going in and a lot of time going in. That's a substantial investment. And of course, you have to remember that when you create a private label, don't start comparing the reach or the recognition as compared to a national brand. It is definitely not that. It is going to be a limited brand recognition, if I can call it that, limited label recognition, if you choose, okay, because it is regional and it is pertaining only to your platforms. So it's not going to be available anywhere else except your shops or your e-commerce platform or whatever else. And at times it might happen that the customer has a much higher perception or expectation of what your private label is going to offer because they primarily consider it as equivalent to a national brand. But this is where that perception gap has to be filled by the retailer with the right communication and with the right highlighting in their communication to their consumers. Another thing you need to be aware of is that you need to pick your manufacturer with utmost care and after utmost scrutiny and testing, because you are going to be reliant on him for every product that you manufacture. And you don't want somebody who's going to delay your production for any reason whatsoever, or give you a quality in which your brand reputation, your label reputation can be compromised. And in spite of everything that you do, there are contractual risks. And therefore, you need to have a robust agreement on what are the do's, what are the don'ts, and what are the exceptions when they manufacture for your brand. And there will always be stress, as I said just a minute back, because your customers will more often than not compare yourself with, compare your private label with what the national brands offer, and you're not going to be able to do all of that things. Okay, so you need to be aware of that. Now, from the consumer perspective, why do they pick on private labels? They pick on private labels because it is more affordable. As I said, you're going to offer a price that's better than a national brand. It gives an enhanced quality assurance, so to say, because you're going to do most of the things a national brand does, but on a little lower scale and therefore less investment and less expenses. And it will help you to build brand loyalty. What are the challenges for the consumer? If you have a great reputation as a retailer, then it's not a big challenge, but otherwise there can be substantial trust issues. Okay, especially for the new people who are coming in only to buy your brand or your label. And that's not difficult to this thing, because you've been in the business, you're already a retailer, and you have examples, you will have stories which you will collect from your existing customers and use them to spread and convince the new customers how reliable and how trustworthy you are. And it very often happens in retail stores that the experience, the brand experience that one offers varies, because maybe there's a bigger turnover, maybe you're not giving enough training to your team. There are many reasons for it, but the brand experience can vary. So what is the future of private label? Is it worth getting into it? Yes, private labels will give you continued growth. If it does really well, it offers you the chance to become a national brand. It will help you expand into premium segments. And if not already in the space, it will put you in that space and make you grow and expand in the e-commerce area. So, to conclude, private labels are a cost-effective way for retailers to offer exclusive product build brand loyalty, and increase the profits and margins vis-a-vis their generic business. While there are challenges, those challenges are not insurmountable, and they will definitely help you to go ahead. Yeah, this is what I think of brand labels. I'm still researching because, as I said, I have never created a brand label for anybody. I have not worked in that space. But maybe if I get enough substantial information and knowledge in the future, I might end up doing one more session on brand labels. In the meantime, if you have pointers and experiences or ideas to share with me, please do so. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you all. Good evening and have a great day.